Today, we're going to talk about something Cal Newport calls the superpower of the 21st century, deep work. This is all about how you can actually succeed in a world that is constantly trying to pull you in a million different directions. And everything we're covering here, we're pulling from his really influential book. It basically lays out this powerful case for completely rewiring the way we think about our professional lives. So let me ask you this. Does that question on the screen feel a little too familiar? Yeah, I thought so. You are definitely not alone. It feels like most of us are just trapped in this cycle of, well, what Newport calls frenetic shallowness, where we're just reacting all day instead of actually thinking. But what if there's a better way? Okay, so to get to that better way, that solution, we first have to really understand the problem. And the truth is, the modern workplace has become a battleground between two completely different kinds of work. So on one side, you have deep work. This is that intense, laser-focused, distraction-free concentration that really pushes your brain to its limits. This is where you create real value, where you actually improve your skills. And then on the other side, you have shallow work, and you know exactly what this is. It's the endless flood of emails, the back-to-back meetings, all those little logistical tasks that make you feel busy but don't really move the needle. And here's the kicker. Our work culture is absolutely addicted to the shallow stuff. So, what is this powerful alternative? I want to be super clear here. This isn't some brand new productivity fad. It's not a hack. In fact, it's a timeless principle that some of the most brilliant minds in history have been using for centuries. Okay, so here's the official definition. Deep work really boils down to two critical ingredients. Number one, zero distractions. And number two, a real mental stretch. We're talking about the difference between just kind of, casually thinking about something and that intense, all-in, focused effort. And like I said, this is not a new idea. Just think about it. You had Michel de Montaigne locking himself away in his library tower. You had Mark Twain, who wrote in a shed so far away from his house, his family literally had to blow a horn to call him for dinner. Carl Jung built a stone retreat not to escape work, but to do his absolute best work. And even today, look at Bill Gates and his famous Think Weeks, where he just disconnects to read and think. What's the common thread? They all deliberately engineer their environments for deep, uninterrupted focus. So if this is such an old idea, why is it so critical right now? Well, it's because our economy today demands two core skills that are pretty much non-negotiable if you want to get ahead. And you guessed it, both of them are powered by deep work. First up, you have to be able to master difficult things, and you have to do it quickly. I mean, technology is changing so fast, right? If you're not constantly learning, you're falling behind. It's that simple. And the second thing is you have to be able to produce at an elite level. And we're talking about both quality and speed here. It's not enough to just have the skill. You need to deliver top-notch results consistently. Deep work is the engine for both. Let's make this real with a modern example. Meet Jason Ben. He had this terrifying realization one day. His finance job was so shallow that it could probably be automated with a simple Excel script. Ouch. He knew he needed to pivot to a deeper skill, so he chose computer programming. But there was a huge problem. Years of that shallow, distracted work had basically wrecked his ability to focus. So what'd he do? Something pretty radical. He locked himself in a room with no computer, just textbooks, note cards, and a highlighter. He was literally retraining his brain to be able to do deep work again. And the results? They were incredible. After just 2 months of this, he didn't just pass an elite coding bootcamp. He aced it, graduated at the top of his class, and more than doubled his old salary. Think about that. He had to master deep work before he could master the new skill. And his story perfectly illustrates this simple but really profound formula. High-quality work is the product of time spent multiplied by your intensity of focus. See, it's not just about grinding out more hours. It's all about the quality of those hours. If you can maximize that intensity, you'll produce better work in less time, period. So why is that intensity so important? It all comes down to this idea called attention residue. Every time you switch tasks, say you look away from a report to check a quick email, your attention doesn't switch over cleanly. A piece of it, a residue, stays stuck on the email. This mental gunk makes you slower and less effective when you go back to the report. So constantly working in that state of semi-distraction, it's like trying to run a race with weights tied to your ankles. You're just sabotaging your own performance. And all of this leads to a massive, glaring paradox. If deep work is so incredibly valuable, why are our workplaces becoming engines of distraction? Why are we actively designing our workdays against our own best interests? The scale of this problem is just staggering. A McKinsey study found that the average knowledge worker spends over 60% of their entire work week on shallow tasks, things like email and just searching for information. That means less than half their week is left for the focused work that actually creates new value. It's wild. So why is this happening? Well, there are a few powerful forces at play. First, there's the principle of least resistance. Let's be honest, it's just easier to clear an inbox than it is to sit down and tackle a complex problem for a few hours. Our brains are wired to want that easy win. Second, we have this thing called busyness as a proxy for productivity. When it's hard to measure what people are actually creating, we just fall back on what we can see. How busy do they look? Are they answering emails quickly? Is their Slack light always green? It's basically productivity theater. And finally, there's the cult of the internet, this sort of unspoken belief that being connected and responsive and using the latest tool is always a sign of progress, even if it's shattering our ability to think. But here's the really important part. The benefits of deep work go way beyond just your career. It's not just about being more productive. It's about building a more meaningful and satisfying life. Let's explore why. From a neurological standpoint, your reality is literally shaped by what you pay attention to. If your focus is constantly being hijacked by a chaotic inbox and endless notifications, your world is going to feel, well, chaotic. But if you can immerse your attention in deep, meaningful work, your world starts to feel richer, more significant. You literally build your reality through your focus. And then there's the psychological side. Deep work is a direct path to what's often called flow. You know that feeling, when you're so in the zone, so absorbed in a challenging task that the rest of the world just fades away. Decades of research show that the more of that flow state we experience in our lives, the happier we tend to be. And this brings us to the final philosophical argument. Think about a master craftsman, like a blacksmith, totally focused on forging a sword. That intense concentration isn't just a job. It's a source of profound meaning and pride. Deep work allows all of us, even us knowledge workers, to feel that same sense of purpose. It connects us to our work in a tangible way that shallow tasks never, ever can. A deep life, ultimately, is a good life. So all this leaves us with a question, a challenge, really. This journey toward a deeper life isn't just about productivity hacks. It's about building a more fulfilling existence, one focused moment at a time. So what is one small, shallow habit that you can start replacing with a little more depth, starting